Duality is looking at just a small percentage of reality and saying that's the good part, and anything else that they don't like, then they say that's bad. So in duality, they label things. And then they say, hey, this is mine, and if you agree with me, then you're good and you're with me. If you don't, then you're evil, you're bad, you must be destroyed, and I can prove you're stupid. If your culture has problems, then I'll tell you what's wrong. That's where we lead into things like ethnocentrism, which leads to racism. And then we have paternalism, where people say, I know what's right for you, just do what I say, because I'm smarter than you, kind of thing. And then we have dogma, which is my way is the only way. And if you tried another way, you are evil. Of course, racism is racism. We all know what that is. These are four products of duality. What's behind it is to oppress others, to control others, to tell others what is right, to tell others what is reality. And that closes people off from themselves because they're focusing away from that sacred center. In dualism, what's really happening here is, Lakota Star Knowledge teaches that there's at least three perspectives to everything. And it's not about which one is the good one. It's about what can I learn from them. Maybe there's one that I can enjoy. Maybe there's one that I'm just at peace with. And what dualistic people do is they look at the situation and they find the perspective they like and they reject the rest of it and say that's bad. So no matter how many perspectives a situation has, dualistic people only accept one perspective. So since Lakota Star Knowledge says that there's at least three perspectives to everything, each perspective equals 1/3. So what dualistic people do is they just accept one and throw the rest away and say it's bad. So what they're doing is they're rejecting 2/3 of the reality of that situation, which means every situation comes with emotions. So when they think they're processing something, 2/3 of that emotion is staying inside their bodies because they refuse to accept the reality of it. So that emotion becomes trapped inside their bodies. This is why they don't develop emotionally. And when you can't develop emotionally, you cannot develop spiritually. You become emotionally insecure, you develop inferiority complexes, you develop low self-esteem, low self-worth, and you're judgmental of everything you don't agree with. You have the tendency to put down things that you don't agree with or you don't like. And dualistic people even go so far as to create a fancy, complex system of beliefs to try to prove that they are right, and if you don't agree, that you are wrong, and you will go to a hell and burn in eternal damnation. But if you agree with him, then you'll be eternally happy. You see what I mean? Where it's always daytime. See, they're only focusing on one side. So this is duality, and it traps you, it enslaves you, it stops you from growing because it traps at least 2/3 of the emotional aspect of every experience in your life. That means all that emotional energy is trapped in your body, and that's going to make you sick if you don't deal with it. You'll become sick mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and even physically. Those are psychosomatic illnesses. So it's really imperative to know what this is so you know how to make it work for you. It's important to learn to see dualism in any situation so that you can learn from it. But if you run away from it, then you're being dualistic too because you're saying it's bad. And so we don't call dualism bad. We say we're going to treat it like a difficulty. We're going to learn from it. When you live this way, so you're really living a healthy way when you're taking care of the four parts of yourself and communicating in a healthy way and nurturing the peace inside of you by learning from difficulties and enjoying blessings. It's good to do this because, love includes all emotions. And these are just part of the experience. We're not meant to live in the emotion because emotions, they can bring us peace, they can bless us. But we have to learn from the difficulties that come with that and also enjoy the blessings that come with it. So it's not about being good or bad, it's about living and communicating. Communicating is how we say things, how we do things, how we comprehend things, how we listen, how we accept information when we touch something or taste something or read something or hear something. See, it goes both ways. So that's communication. And when we do that in a healthy way, because we're healthy inside, by living this way, then we are influencing others. They feel our energy. So no matter what people say to us, we know how to deal with it in a healthy way. We know how to filter it and respond in a healthy way. If it's dualistic, we know how to neutralize it so it doesn't hurt anybody else. And then we shake it off. If it's healthy, we pass it on. You see what I'm saying? So that's how that works. And when you have this kind of universe inside of you, living in a healthy way, taking care of yourself, you're keeping a contact with that sacred center. Now, when you were born, a part of Grandmother Earth went inside of your body. This is where your sacred center is located. So when you're taking care of yourself, living this way, belonging to no religion, but living in a healthy way, you are having an open contact with the earth. So in a way, duality is a part of life, but it is actually a tool that we can learn from it so that we make it work for us. We either add something to it or adjust it or whatever, and we make it work for us. It can be a learning experience. You see what I mean? We treat duality like a difficulty. Remember to maintain your sacred center so that when you meet others, you take the time to know them and see if they communicate from their sacred center too. And in this way, you maintain your peace and they maintain theirs too. And you do this because you already done this to yourself, to establish that peace inside of you by learning from your difficulties and enjoying your blessings. So when you do that, you're going to find people who do that too. And this is going to build the next star knowledge concept of like attracts like. How you are is what you will attract. Whether it's a friend or your partner, your romantic partner, you will attract similar people naturally. Likewise, unhealthy people attract unhealthy people too. Like attracts like. That doesn't mean you're going to attract somebody who's exactly like you. No, you're going to attract somebody who's also living a healthy life, and that person also knows that through difficulties you learn and you gain wisdom and knowledge and peace. They know that too. That's how you build a healthy relationship. So you don't find somebody to complete you. That's what unhealthy people do. They're always looking for something out there, outside of them, to make them feel right. That's dualistic thinking. And that's why they create religions and look for others to make them happy. When really it's you go inside of yourself. You have to go there first. So you will find a healthy partner. So it's not about looking for somebody to complete you. It's about completing yourself first and then finding somebody who is also this way. That way, for healthy people, when you enter a relationship, you are creating something new. You maintain your individual identity, and your relationship becomes an extension of that. The relationship is an extension of both of your identities. So What happens to you happens to the relationship too. So difficulties may come to the relationship, and healthy people know that these difficulties can result in both partners increasing their love for each other. Do you see what I mean? It's a beautiful thing. So if you want a healthy partner, you got to be healthy first. You see how this works? This is the Lakota Star Knowledge way of living. It all starts within you. It all starts inside of you. I said just a few seconds ago about, when you're in a healthy relationship and sometimes a difficulty comes to the relationship, and that difficulty has to be defined too. Like for example, let's say you're under the impression that you're in a healthy relationship, but then a difficulty comes and it's not conducive to being solved. For example, in an abusive relationship, as soon as a partner hits the other one, that's it. In a healthy relationship, that's it. It's done. There's no going back, because that's the point of no return. If a man were to do this and then he says, I'll never do this again, and starts crying and threatens to kill himself because he can't believe what he did, and stuff like this. Now he's making himself the victim. As he just assaulted his partner, and now he's making himself the victim. And he's blaming his mother or his father for always belittling him when he was a little kid or whatever. Maybe he's saying, I was abandoned and nobody loved me, and it's hard for, as soon as I find something to, that loves me back, I want to hang on to it as much as I can. And, when it looks like it's threatened, then I get scared and I just freak out. I'm sorry, and it'll never happen again. I'll go see a counselor. No. If that's the way he felt, if he was healthy, he would have taken care of that issue before he entered a relationship. Because a real man knows that when he has issues with his past, when there's things that happened to him in his childhood or his developing years, and in which there was emotional abandonment as well as physical abandonment, he needs to settle that first. That's the part I was talking about earlier concerning coming to peace with your past. That you have to work all that stuff out before you go into a relationship, because otherwise you'll end up slapping a woman. Or that's I'm really understating here. That most likely he's going to beat the shit out of the woman. And so these are things he should have taken care of before he went into the relationship. That's why I said, when a man does this, that is over. You cannot follow that. Because if you followed on his way of thinking, when he said, I went through so much shit in my childhood, and if you follow that, you're heading down a road of further abuse. That is a guarantee. And if you don't believe me, you are a codependent, because this is natural law. What I'm stating to you is natural law. This is not something you ever do concerning physical violence like that. That is not a difficulty. That is downright abuse. And that has to be nipped in the bud right now. You need to get the hell out of there. Because if it's a dangerous, precarious situation, you play it. Because that's what he's doing to you. Like I said, if he was healthy, he would have taken care of these issues before he went into the relationship. But the fact that he's hit you, that means he's not healthy. I don't care what religion he belongs to or what ceremonies he does or whatever. This is not a healthy person. So in a situation like this, you have to play it until an opportunity comes where you can get out of there with your life. That's how that goes. This is really a dangerous situation. When I said earlier, when a difficulty comes to the relationship, difficulty does not include physical abuse. That is something that is not right at all. Because that's not how we're designed. We do those things when we're sick. And when we're sick, we should not be in relationships with other people that are very close. So this is not your responsibility to help him heal. That's his responsibility. And if he can't do it, he's not a man. He's a coward. So that's something I wanted to add there. I was just thinking about that because I've seen this happen so many times in my life. There's so much unhealthiness all over the world. In the Western world, there's so much unhealthiness, and we develop false ideas of love based on what we see on TV. And if we don't have that in our lives, then we set that as our goal, and we're not realizing that what's presented on TV is a fantasy. It's not reality. So this is just some further points I wanted to add on that concerning being in a relationship, and I know it's tough. I do know it's tough that when you want to save somebody, and this is why I hate to say this, but it is true that a lot of nurses are codependents because they have this need to save the person they're with, and they attract it. Like attracts like. So you have to really, really make sure you are healthy. Because you might think you're healthy, and then you enter in a relationship with somebody, and it totally goes wrong. Or the other thing is they may deceive you. So maybe you are on the right track. You are doing okay, but the person deceived you. You have to keep that option open and don't blame yourself too bad. Because sometimes that's the case where a guy really knows what to say. He knows exactly what to say to enchant you and stuff like that. But see, the fact that he has to enchant means he cannot do it naturally. That he doesn't really mean it. He's just saying it to get his victim. When you hear of these kind of things happening, you really have to think, because like I said, it can be really complex. And the other issue is that sometimes a healthy relationship will go sour. One of them will change. Even a friendship, and a healthy friendship, one person could change for the worse. Then you have to, again, nip that in the bud. You have to let it go, no matter how hard it hurts, no matter how many years you've been best friends or partners, you have to let it go. Because in Lakota Star Knowledge says the most important moment is the present moment. The past is done. You cannot use the past as a reason to stay in a relationship because you cannot live in the past. The past you can enjoy from looking at the good times and reminiscing, and it makes you feel good again. You can learn from your past, but you don't live in the past. You cannot use that as saying, oh, but we've spent 15 years together. I hate to throw all that away. You're not throwing it away when you end it. It's still a treasure. You can still look at it. You can still remember those times, but you cannot use that as a weapon. You cannot use that as a reason. Because you have to live in the present moment. When you're a healthy person, you live in the present moment. That's vital to your existence. I know it's hard. It's really hard to say, okay, it's over. Like I said, you're not throwing it away, but that person's changed. That's a different person. They've chosen to be that way, whether that was conscious or not. And you are only responsible for your life. So you can't sit around waiting and twiddling your fingers and praying and doing all kinds of ceremonies and so forth so that person will return to the way they are. No, you cannot do that because you're wasting your time. And you're not given time to waste. You're given time to live. So you have to move on. It is hard, but you will be okay. You will be more than okay. This will become a learning experience for you. In several years' time, you can look back at it and say, that was a beautiful experience. Too bad it ended, but hey, I found a new friend. That's natural law. You have to do your part in letting go. And you're not throwing your past away. How can you? It's a part of you. Look at the other things you've been through in your life. Have you thrown them away just because you're not with those people anymore? No, you haven't. You still value it. You look back at your days in high school when everything was ridiculously fun, and even though maybe you don't talk to anybody from the high school time, you still look at that in a good way. You will too with this thing. So you're not throwing anything away. But you have to end it so that what you keep is a beautiful thing. Sometimes we have ideas that we have to be careful. We shouldn't generalize that everybody is the same. Like when we're talking about people who are healthy emotionally, that's really key there is emotional health. Is that's going to be defined even further by our personalities. So that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, like say I meet somebody who is emotionally healthy too, and let's say we're attracted to each other and we enter a relationship, but her personality might be a little bit, of course it's going to be different than mine. There might be certain things that you know, certain kind of it's hard to explain here in English. Let me say this in German. Nobody will understand because my German's not that good. um, it's like you get two people together, and let's just say they're friends, and they're both pretty healthy people, but one person might love Tabasco sauce on everything they eat, and the other person can't stand it. Some people are just that way. They have to have Tabasco on everything. I was with somebody like that in my past. That girl used Tabasco sauce on everything. And we went to a restaurant one time and she ordered a baked chicken and I ordered some kind of steak or whatever. She couldn't finish her chicken, so she said, "David, do you want to finish this?" And I said, "Sure." So I was really looking forward to, because it looked really good, yeah, her chicken. I was thinking, man, I should have ordered that. It looked good, it smelled good. Oh, I took a big old piece and, oh man, I was like, give me a pitcher of water now. Can you take my tongue and lips off and put them on ice? Oh my goodness, this girl just soaks it with Tabasco sauce. I forgot that that's what she did. If the restaurant doesn't have it, she takes one along with her. Yeah, she's always got a little Tabasco bottle with her. Her and her father are like that. Yeah, they really use Tabasco sauce. It's just something that they like, and everything else in their life is normal. It's just that they really love Tabasco sauce. You see what I mean? That's what I'm looking at here. Like, you might attract a healthy partner, but you have different personalities, so there might be something that you have to keep in mind whenever you're getting together to do whatever it is, whether it's making love or you're cooking or taking a walk, or there might be certain things that you have to take into consideration, and she's going to do the same thing to you too, because there might be some things about you that she has to be mindful of as well. I'm not talking about habits or anything like that. I'm talking about emotional things, and this is nothing unhealthy. It's just what defines us, and it's part of our personality. That's why it's really important when you're meeting somebody to really get to know that person and not just focus on what they look like or their voice or whatever. No, you really have to take time to know somebody before you jump in. Most people don't do that. They become physically attracted and maybe there's some spiritual bond happening, and people think that's enough. That we connect spiritually and we connect physically and mentally. We have the same kind of thoughts. But what most people don't take into consideration is the emotional part. Because Western society, which is a dualistic society, does not want anybody to develop emotionally. Because if you develop emotionally, then you know what duality is. Then you know that, oh geez, that's not good. And duality doesn't want that to be found out. It doesn't want to be exposed, so it wants you to be emotionally dumb, emotionally stumped, emotionally blocked. Because of that, we develop incorrect or misinformed ideas of what emotional health is. This is why, we think, hey, we connect body, mind, soul, let's go for it. And people forget the heart. You see so many organizations, body, mind, soul this, body, mind, soul that, and all that, but nobody takes into consideration the emotional aspect. Or some people say that the emotional aspect is not important. Some people say, how can it be important? It's just something that you feel. Wow, that shows you they don't understand what emotional development is, because it is a real thing. One reason why people find it difficult is because it's always moving. We're always feeling things. We're always feeling things about this and that, and it's important to realize that emotions are a tool and not a place to live. So this is why our healthy people don't desire to live in happiness. They desire to live in peace, because peace is accomplished or achieved through emotional development. And the emotions are always moving. They're supposed to. It's part of a learning process. They come and they go. They come when you experience something. They leave when you learn and make the best of it. And that's how you develop emotionally. That's important. Where we get in trouble is when we try to stay in it, that we only want to feel that one emotion, which is understandable because it feels good. But think of it like this, the hate groups that are all over the world, that they take great pleasure in hatred. They love to hate anybody that represents who they say is the enemy. They don't want this people of this skin color or that religion to even exist. So they'll make speeches like, yeah, we're going to blow that country off the map. So they'll never exist anymore. Or they'll deny that their history even happened and stuff like that. And they live for that. They just live to hate. And you see that that's abnormal. Most of us that can see that that's got to be a sad way to live, just to want to hate all the time. Or to want to be happy all the time is the same thing. And that's really hard for a lot of people to understand. Because people think that, okay, we should only be happy and we should never hate. There are times, part of our human development, where we're supposed to cry. There are times when we're supposed to be angry and to be scared. But we have to express those emotions without hurting anybody, including ourselves, or anything. So in other words, it has to come out in a constructive way. So this is why I said earlier, physical abuse in a relationship is not accepted. That ends after the first slap. That relationship is over. I know that sounds strict, but your life is important. And when a person has crossed that boundary, that's awful hard to repair. And it's safest to get out of it. Because they should have fixed that before they entered the relationship. And the fact that they didn't is endangering your life. And you are valuable. And you owe nothing to that person. So when I say anger, that it must be released. That's why I said, as long as you don't hurt anybody or anything, including yourself. So, and I was talking about this example earlier where somebody hit a woman and then he's saying, oh, I'm sorry, I never do that again. I can't believe I did that. My mother used to belittle me all the time, and my father whipped me all the time, and I didn't even do anything. I was just sitting there watching TV. He came around, slapped me in the back of the head, and now he's making himself a victim after he just gave his wife two black eyes. Now he's trying to make himself a victim. That's an oppressor to the max. He has a problem. And it's a wake-up call. That's not expressing anger. That is downright abuse. Okay, so I have to make that distinction there. So we have these times where we're supposed to feel these things because it's part of learning. When somebody close to us dies, we cry. Or we express the sadness somehow, because some people can't cry for a while. It takes them a while to cry. It's just how they are. They're sad in other areas. They express it in a different way. Like I said, we have different personalities. So we can't be happy through that. Oh, I'm so happy because he's going to heaven. How do you know? There's this famous Native American actress. I'm not going to say who she is because I don't want to promote her, for one thing. She was on the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation for whatever reason. She's been in some major motion pictures in America. Okay, so she is really famous. And she was on the Jay Leno show. It used to be a really big time show back in the day, after Johnny Carson. She was on a lot of TV talk shows. She's a voice in some Disney films. Very famous girl. She's Native American. And I had a good friend who was a radio DJ for this radio station in Little Eagle, South Dakota called KLND. And it's a really nice radio station. Lakota radio. Some of their DJs can speak Lakota, so it's really cool listening when they're on. Anyway, my friend, he always interviews people, Native Americans in film and music. So this lady came and he was interviewing her. I talked with him at a powwow and he said, "Man, she's really weird." He said, "We were sitting there and as she was talking, she lifted up her leg. She lifted up her leg and put her feet behind her head." And she was just sitting there like that, answering my questions, he said. And she said, "Well, I just love everything. And when somebody hits me and knocks me down, I just stand right back up and hit them with a kiss." And I heard that. Yeah, I was listening to the interview on the radio, so I heard that part. But he said, "What you didn't know was she had her leg behind her head." He said, or her foot behind her head. That's quirky, yeah. But see, what I'm saying is that's really emotionally unhealthy. You have to say that when somebody knocks me down, I just stand up and hit them back with a kiss. And that's codependency to the extreme. So, oh my goodness, some people are kind of different. Just a little bit. Anyway, so when something happens to you in your life, you have to express the emotion, like I said, without hurting anybody and anything, including yourself. Maybe you have a job and suddenly you get fired. That's a difficulty. You're in a relationship and you think everything is going really good and all that, and then you're in a relationship for 10 years with somebody, and then that person tells you, "Hey, I want to end this relationship. I'm in love with somebody else. I just now fell in love with that person, but I've been thinking of ending this for 2 years now." That puts you in a shock because you're like, "So you mean the past 2 years you were just pretending? This whole time when you were saying you love me, you were just pretending? So all the past 2 years was just a lie?" You see, that really is a confusing one because on one side, you're pissed because the person lied to you. You're angry. On the other side, you're sad because it's over. And the other side, you're scared because you're thinking, geez, what am I going to do next? I invested everything in this relationship. And what do I do next? So there's three emotions going back and forth. You see what I mean? That's not a time to be happy. So this is a time where we have to heal. We have to express these emotions so we can get a clear mind. And then we can try our best to make the best out of this situation too. What can we learn from this? For one thing, it shows you that nothing is written in stone. That means there is no such thing as fate. No one was meant to be with somebody because people change. Life is just what you make of it. This is why in Lakota Star knowledge, the concept of soulmates does not exist. This is a fantasy. This is the thinking of love addiction, which is unhealthy. Sometimes things happen like this. People change. When you're on the other end of it, where you're the one that's getting dumped, you have to make the best out of it. You have to. Because now you're on a new road. So you got to get to know that road as good as you can. Because it's leading someplace. And if you remain healthy emotionally, this road will lead you to a good place because you're making that road. That road is not defined. That road has no direction. You're the one that's going to tell that road where to go. And when you are healthy, it's going to lead you to another healthy situation. Because like attracts like, you will attract a new partner. You will attract a new partner. That's natural law. You see what I mean? So it's not about soulmates. It's not about, oh, we've been living together for 40 years and it just gets better every time. You know, that's good. Good for them. But let me tell you one thing. Just because you're with somebody for a really long time, that does not make it better than for people who have been together just for 3 months. That doesn't make it better. Because that is linear thinking, and love does not abide by linear rules. This is why I said when a relationship ends after 15 years, never think you're throwing it away. You're keeping it to be a treasure as a past. It helped you to become who you are. Just like when you deal with your difficulties from your past, you come to peace with that. So anytime you look at it, it doesn't make you sad, angry, or scared. It's just like, wow, that was really hard, yeah, but I made it. And you don't have any emotional attachment, but you can look at it and be at peace with it. It doesn't bother you anymore, so you can look about it, talk about it anytime. It doesn't do anything to you because you've come to peace with it. It's taught you things. You've learned wonderful things from there. It's made you even more healthier than ever before. Those are good teachers. That's how you see it now. You're not throwing it away. You're owning it. You've transformed it into a teacher. This is the same way you see it in a relationship that's lasted for 10 years and everything was good until suddenly a person changed. You're not throwing that away. You're keeping it. You're owning it. You come to peace with it. It's still a treasure to you. You're not throwing it away. But your life is going in a different direction now. And like I said, if you're healthy, that road will lead you to a healthy destination. Because like attracts like. Life is just what you make of it. See how that works? So you're not throwing it away. That other person has changed. You can't do anything about that. Just let them go. And I know that's hard, but you have to. For your own well-being, you have to let them go. You have to let them go. Because what's down the road can be really nice. But you have to define that road. by coming to peace with that relationship that just ended, so that you don't hate that person. But you can't go back to them. They're different. So you remain healthy. Cry if you need to. Get angry if you need to. But like I said, don't hurt anybody, including yourself or anything. Just heal from it and start talking about it. That way all these energies come out, and then you get a clear mind. Then your heart can function clearly too, emotionally. And then you continue living your life, doing the things that you need to do, maintaining your emotional health, because that foundation has to be there. So that way your road is going to lead in a healthy direction, and it's leading to somebody healthy, because like attracts like. This is natural law. This is all coming from Lakota Star knowledge. So don't be trying to fix people. Yeah? Fix yourself. Adjust yourself. You just make that adjustment, so you're fine-tuning yourself, because that means you're getting healthier. And what you attract will be healthy. This is natural law. This is all based on Lakota Star knowledge concepts. And don't worry about, is that next one going to last a long time? Is that going to be my soulmate? Don't think like that, because those will lead you away from any kind of healthy foundation. Just stay in the present moment, because the present moment is the best way you can influence the future. So if you're healthy, you're influencing the future in a very healthy way. You enjoy everything as it's happening. You have to remain in the present moment. So don't be concerned about how long that relationship is going to last. Don't even think about that, because you don't know it. So why worry about it? Instead, enjoy it as it's happening. Then you're taking the full essence. You're enjoying it to the max when you do that.
Like Ihamaye, Ohini Wache, Iotachilak, watch that chilak, Ohini Jiksuye, Iotachilak, Techi Wablak, Ohini Ichi, Humble Techichila.
There's a lot of truth in the blues. The blues is a way to get you to release so healing can come. Problem is, some people like to stay in the blues. But it's a way to be funny too, yeah, to look at a situation that's really bad and to find the humor in it too. And B.B. King has a really good song out many years ago, and I forgot the name of that song, but the lyrics are something else. I mean, how did the line go? Something like, he gave this and that in a relationship. He sings about what she did with it. It's like, holy, talk about a bad time, yeah, difficult time. Like I said, this is showing you that it needs to be released. Just to talk about it, to sing about it, that stuff has to come out. Just like when you fall in love, you celebrate it. Some people celebrate it with song. It's part of enjoying the process. When you're going through a difficulty, we have to express that. We have to talk about it. This way healing comes. Because if we just keep everything inside, we're not going to heal, no matter what. You might think you can forget, but your body never forgets. It will bring it out eventually. So you will have to face it. That is how it goes. That's just the way it is. But it's good because it leads to healing. So it's okay to talk about, even if it makes you cry, you know. Sometimes we go through things and there's always songs that will say, it made a grown man cry. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know. It's a dualistic society that says men are not supposed to cry. And that is bullshit. We are designed to do that. Sometimes we have to, as it's a part of releasing, it's a part of having that emotion run its course. See, that's what emotions are supposed to do. They're supposed to run their course. The reason why is because healing is pushing it from behind. So if you block it, you're blocking the healing. You see what I mean? So just think of it like that.